Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I'm not sure how many people are joining live today. I set all this up at the weekend and added it in, but it's going to be the same time every week, every Tuesday at 10. And it will also be on the Get Out of Rap YouTube channel and, of course, on LinkedIn all the time. But hello, everybody. How you doing? I'm going to get straight in with a tip and hopefully get some interaction from anyone that is watching. Okay, this is something we've done in our teams. Can you see? No, that way. Can you see the numbers? This is the mood elevator, and it is a great way to kick off either face to face or especially virtually with your teams when you catch up with them. And very simply, it's a nice, easy way. You can ask people to show it visually with their hands or just give you the number. But if one is feeling super, super low, how is your mood? If number one is super, super low and number 10 is the best you've ever felt in your life, where is your current mood? So if you are watching, maybe let me know where are you at on this scale. I would say today I'm probably a 7, which is pretty good, isn't it? Now, the other thing that we've done in our teams when we use this is, let's say someone says they are down, I keep getting that wrong, down here, a 3 or a 4. The next thing is the question from the host of the meeting or the team leader is, do you want to talk about it? Maybe they don't, maybe they do, especially if you're in a group setting, they might not want to, but it's just to be aware of where people come into your meeting and the energy that they're at and whether you might need to work with them afterwards, because we all have dips and peaks and troughs in our moods. Where might you be with this? So it works really well. It's a real nice way of finding and gauging the temperature of your team. And like I say, where are you right now on this? Are you wait a minute? Yeah. Are you a 5 today? Or are you a 7, an 8? Where are you? How is your general mood? And like I say, the other thing to talk about is whether people want to talk about it. So hopefully a helpful tip for you there to start. And like I say, if you are watching, why not say what your current mood is? And hopefully if it's low at the start, it gets higher, not the other way around in this half hour. So next, did you know that if you're in the call and contact center industry, hold on, do we have a comment? Vinod at 8. Wow, good stuff. That's great to hear, Vinod. Oh, Dan is a poorly 5. He is bedridden with COVID. And I had that last week, and someone said this it gave them the ick that I had COVID in 2022 because it was so last year. Well, get well soon, Dan. Hopefully we can raise that to a 5.5 or a 6 by the end of this. Okay, so as I was saying, if you work in call and contact centers, your teams, we all use our voices as our main tool to do our job. There is a British Voice Association, so I'm recommending that you go and check them out. They are an association for people that use their voices for their jobs, so voiceover artists, radio presenters, people doing podcasts. And you wouldn't necessarily think, they don't even mention either contact center workers, which is strange. Here you go, Dan. Look, Vinod, thank you very much. What a nice thing to say. Yes, we all send our best to Dan. Me and him recorded a podcast, so I'm glad I did it before he got ill, selfishly. Anyway, so yes, the British Voice Association. And they have some amazing free resources, one of which I have taken and turned into an infographic, which all of this will be available on my newsletter. I'll publish the newsletter, I think, tomorrow. And like last time I said, the number of subscribers when I published the newsletter actually dropped. Oh, Kane, when you've not worked for a contact centre for over 7 years, but still come here for money. No, thank you, mate. That's lovely. Well, once you've worked in it, though, you never forget it, do you? But I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, what was I saying? So all of these infographics I'm going to share in this half hour are going to be in the newsletter. I'll publish it tomorrow and continue to lose subscribers. But that's probably a good thing, isn't it? They're probably self-selecting. Anyway, let's get to the point. So looking after your voice, this is something to share with your teams. And you know what? I'm always up for trying things with my team. And let's say some of this stuff, when you go through it, might be a bit like awkward, especially if you're British. We don't like doing some of these things. But what I think it shows is that you care for your team. Because if you're searching for things to do that try and make their lives better, then that can only be a good thing. So let's go from the top. This is a voice care regime. It's recommended by the British Voice Association. I've amended it slightly to fit our industry, but I would be talking and sharing this with my team, especially my team members that are on the phone using their voice every day. Before their shift starts, they should be stretching their neck and shoulders, and a cursory look at the internet will show you the best exercises for neck and shoulders. But if you're using your voice a lot, and especially given everyone's posture, you carry that stress in your neck and shoulders, and that can affect your voice. And also, this isn't necessarily just about how well you project your voice, but it's also hopefully preventative, and that it will keep you from feeling ill and getting voice-related illnesses. So inhale for 2 counts and exhale for 5 using an S or Z sound. And to do that for 5 minutes, it's actually very relaxing as well as good for your voice. Hum a tune or do a tongue twister. What is everyone's favourite tongue twister? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Just something like that gets the voice doing something different. Recite a poem or passage of words, or even just read an article and exaggerate the intonation. Listen for the musicality in your voice. This engages the listener and keeps your voice healthy. Who can remember, and it's probably still a thing, is it part of your quality monitoring where people say your pitch or your tone, or I can remember getting that feedback as an agent that I sounded quite monotone and that I needed to try and make my voice more interesting and amend my pitch and tone. But without real examples, it was quite difficult for me to understand. I didn't really know what that meant. But I quite like the phrase musicality. So engaging the listener and keeps your voice healthy. Key one here is reset your voice during the day with hums and lip trills. And a lip trill is, something I didn't do very well. My mouth's quite dry. So humming and lip trills. And then at the end of the day, to stretch your whole body at the end of your shift. And like I say, some reminders like this just show your team that you're thinking about them and that you care, and recognize that they're probably going to be talking for a high percentage of the day, and that does have an impact. So I'll do another one of these next week that is around voice health, but this one is voice care. Do even just one or two of these every day. Get your team to do them, and you will see an impact. Kane you were at Conduit Cardiff, unforgettable indeed. I think we've all got stories, haven't we? I think we should maybe that'll be an episode one day where we just talk about some of the funny stuff that we did. Actually, I mentioned we did a podcast recording. It'll be coming out soon. A lot of that was recounting some of the funny stuff that we got up to, and it's often overlooked. We should have a bit more fun with what we're doing, aren't we? We're only going around once on this ride, so. Okay, and that's a nice intro into the news. Imagine some news type music there. Dum-dum. Wow, yes, history has been made. And that is that for the first time ever, and I've got to accept the articles that I read and that they've done their research. Does anyone know of whether this has happened before? But for the first time ever, BT workers vote for the UK's first ever call centre strike. And so this is members of the Communication Workers Union, the CWU, who are employed by BT Group, overwhelmingly backed strike action. So they balloted 9,000 alongside 30,000 open reach engineers. And you can see the contact centre workers backed the strike action by 91%. You know, it was 75% in the engineers, but 91% of that 9,000 said, yeah, we want to go on strike. And this is because they are opposed to the unjust, arbitrary pay rise that everyone's got of 1,500. It's a dramatic real terms cut, with inflation predicted to rise to 11.7 this year. If you go and look at it, I think some of these stats were taken from the New Scotsman, Scottish paper, and they go on to say they note the disparity between the CEO's pay, which is something like 3.5 million, and the pay of the contact center workers. And as they note here, in real terms, it's a pay cut because of inflation. And we're all in the middle of a cost of living crisis, as it's being called. Energy, petrol, food, everything's going up. What does this mean for everyone, especially our advisors? And at a time when anyone who's involved in recruitment will know that recruiting people into the industry is tougher than ever. And this kind of thing points to a scenario and a situation that we need to do something about. But what I'm really interested in is, if you look around your contact center now, I imagine the vast majority, like the ones I've worked in and work in, do not, we're not in a union. We don't have the option to join a union. If we were part of a union, would we be taking the same action as the 9,000 call center workers for BT voted overwhelmingly to do? Because this feels like it's their last recourse. They note that they don't feel they have any other options other than to do this. It would be great to hear from the other side, and BT say that they're committed to resolving this and that people are paid fairly, but their workforce state otherwise. And I noted this morning actually that Keith Gates shared an article also referenced BT, that some of their contact centres had introduced internal food banks. BT say it isn't a food bank, it's more like a pantry where you can just share with each other food. But again, nonetheless, these are bad optics. Are they more than optics? Are they things that we should really be worried about? Let's watch this story with interest. But I would love to know your thoughts on this. Vinod, thank you very much. And we have another comment from you. I think as leaders, we should keep a good balance of caring people working for you and performance. Very, very, very true. One leads to the other, I think, doesn't it? You care for your people, they perform better. You're creating the right environment for them to perform well. So yes, please do let me know your thoughts on the strike and whether you think there will be more or that there would be more if people were able to be in unions or they're in unions. Now, a regular feature. Let's have a look at 3 events that I think you should circle in your calendar. And the other thing people have contacted me about is even if they don't go to some of these events, they are pointing them out to their team, which is great to see. So maybe you or your team will like to attend one of these events. First one is a live case study. I really like this concept. I think it's great. This is being run by the forum and actually includes BT, EE, and PlusNet, but it's a positive and sharing of best practice. Now, the forum, of course, are the leaders when it comes to planning. That's where they started, and they now are branched. They're now across everything, and they're great at it. You can see here that they're going to talk about a case study of how BT, EE, and PlusNet transformed their planning functionality, and that is the 7th of July. It's only 1 hour, 11 till 12. It's going to be a great session, I think. It's definitely one to earmark, and that actually is Thursday, isn't it? Forgot where I was then for a second. Yeah, so that is Thursday. A bit later on in the month, this time from the CCMA, is part 6. So they've been doing loads and loads of research, and part 6 of the evolution of the contact center, and these have been fascinating to date. It's an online seminar, again, an hour, the 20th of July, 12 till 1. I do recommend getting involved in that one because they've shared some fascinating insights. And of course, because this is my show, I can do what I want. The next episode of the podcast will be out on Friday, and that is with Stephen Yap. He's been on before. He's the research director at the CCMA, and the Odigo commissioned a piece of work with the CCMA to research the voice of the contact center consumer. So this is all of the customers that we look after and our teams deal with every day. What his research showed is that their behaviors and how they interact with contact centers and want to interact with contact centers is changing. And you need, if you are a leader, you need to be aware of some of the things that are changing. There's some really interesting insights that Stephen shares about how they did it, how different demographic groups perform, and all of those types of things. So I'm bound to say it, but please do that. I'll be publishing that on Friday, the 8th. It's always available first thing in the morning and on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. I'm pleased to say my YouTube subscribers has gone up to a massive 63. So please do watch on YouTube as well. You get to see people. I'd always focus on the side of the screen that isn't me. You see enough of my big fat Easter Island head. So 3 events. Please note them down, stick them in your calendars, share them with your teams. This will all be in the newsletter tomorrow. Right. Now then, how's everyone's mood? Have you gone up, Dan? Are you going up from a 5? Or are you going down? Okay. Now, maybe you don't, maybe you already do, but if you don't, I'm going to recommend someone that I think you follow on LinkedIn. And ideally, if you can, connect with in real life. We're now getting back to going to events in person, aren't we? So you're bound to see my colleague and friend, Helen Manahan. I've known Helen now 8 years, and I'm far better for knowing her, and so will you be. I think it's telling that her LinkedIn headline is improving human interactions. Helen is a humanist. She is absolutely a subject matter expert in all things contact centers, all things quality, and you will see that the CCMA have been sharing some posts with feedback from people that have attended training courses where Helen's been the trainer. She has a way of making sometimes subjects that you'd think were a bit dry just come to life. And what's great is that people might go and, let's say, the training sessions on managing conflict in the contact center or dealing with vulnerable customers, that people come away not just with tips on how to deal with those subjects, but how to make their lives better, because that's what Helen provides. So if I could say 3 words, it would be insightful, helpful, and funny. If you don't already, please do follow Helen on LinkedIn. Dan is now a solid 5.75. I'm going to take that. That's kind of the feedback is a gift, right? So I'm attributing that 0.75 rise to solely down to this show. So good. Well, let's see if we can get you up to 6 by the end. This might help. Another tip. Are you sharing with your advisors and agents, for those that want to, how do they become team leaders? So I've taken a stab at putting this together. Excuse me. Whilst I have a coffee, you can read it. And this is something, again, will be in the newsletter. Why not share it with your team leaders and they can share it with their team, or create your own, amend any of this. But when I thought about in my career, when I got advice myself and when I wanted to become a team leader, but also then after going through it and managing team leaders and that experience of working with other people, if I had to list 5 areas, these would be the 5. What do you think? Is there any that you would disagree with? Are there any that you would add? So become an expert learner, start a journey of continual learning. I think we need to, light a fire so that people can go out and do their own work and learn about the industry, learn about the customers, competitors, everything. I'd want to be seeing agents that are doing that. Help your manager, business, and customers. I used to have a very simple measure with some people that I knew wanted to progress. I'd say, do you help or hinder everything? Are you a helpful person, or are you a bit of a problem? Because it's going to be very hard to get promoted if you are in the latter group. Help others and volunteer. If you are taking a step forward and saying yes, then you are far more likely to become visible, to get exposed to new challenges, to definitely put yourself in a position where people know you to be helpful. And that is really important when it comes to being able to have a litany of things where you've helped your company, so that you versus other people, if it comes down to a decision, by helping others and volunteering, you should have more things that you can talk about in the interview. Develop self-awareness. This is one probably I wish I'd have done earlier in my career. What are my strengths and weaknesses when it comes to learning styles and communication? And how does that impact on me from a leadership point of view? The sooner you understand that, the better. What are the things that you're good at, not good at, and how does that manifest itself with you and your team? These are really important. Developing self-awareness. Self-awareness is a superpower. There's a book by Tasha Eurich. I can't remember the name of it, but I definitely recommend it from understanding self-awareness and how important it is to your career. And then finally, I'd say be proactive and get a mentor. There's plenty of people out there. They don't necessarily need to be in your company. Just ask them to take an interest in you. Ask them if they want to be a mentor. It doesn't need to be overly formal. I've developed and benefited from plenty of people in my career who were more senior than me that I would just semi-regularly, sometimes maybe even just twice a year, catch up with and find and pick their brains about how I might want to develop. And there are plenty of people that will offer that up to you. You just need to ask them. Like I say, it doesn't need to be people in your company. Many of the people that have been guests actually on the podcast would welcome the chance to be mentors. So check out the episode list, listen to one of them and see if there's any people in there that you would want to be a mentor. Okay, how are we doing for time? We're good. I've had plenty of people say that they would like to shout out their teams, use this half hour. I will allocate a space if you want to shout out a person, a team, someone's achieved something, maybe there's a special occasion. We can do anything. Weddings, but available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, christenings. But there might be something that you want to highlight. The only thing I'd say is, because I prepare all of this at the weekend, please can you get it to me in the week? It would be great to have some photos so we can see the people that you want to shout out. Like I say, I've had quite a bit of contact. My only response is literally just, can you send me a photo and let me know who people are? And then I would more than happy to shout them out, because we don't do enough praise in this in our industry, do we? So I know you've all been waiting for this. Last week I publicly said I needed to get back on my battle of oh, sorry. Hello. Oh, hey, popped in to check it out. Great work, Martin. Thank you very much, Al. Do make it a regular visit. Always trying to share good content. So thank you very much. Okay, so you remember last week I did say very publicly I wanted to get back on my battle with my belly, as I've reached a certain age. Whilst I'm playing football and still active, my diet isn't the best. So, and I said, who wants to join me on a weight loss? They don't mind me saying this. Dan is very svelte, actually. He's a bit ill, but he's probably the lightest of our group. We've created a little group, okay? We're calling it Gal versus Fat. We have a WhatsApp group. We started last week. It's myself, Dan, Marco, Chris, and Pete, who all popped up in the comments last week and said they wanted to join. All guys, but I think that's just coincidence. If anybody wants to join our little band of warriors, we are on a bit of a fat loss journey together, and we are helping each other with tips. Probably every other day we're sharing something in our little WhatsApp group. We're weighing ourselves once a week, ready for this show, and I'm pleased to say collectively we've lost 9 kilograms. I'm not sure what that is in pounds. I'm sure someone can let me know, but we're off to a flyer. And I wanted to share some of the things that, so Marco from SSE has been traveling a lot this week, and it's meant that he's not been able to exercise as much, but he recommended an app called MyFitnessPal. And basically by using that to track his calories, he's made sure that he's in a calorie deficit every day. And in the last week, he's lost 2 kilograms. So he is doing He's doing great. Chris Rainsforth has been sharing workout plans. He's also including a cheat day on Friday where he had a few beers. Still managed to lose 2 kilograms, and Chris is a warrior. If you know Chris, he's going to be all over this. And then my good mate Pete Dunn. Pete, again, by being on top of his calorie count, and also he started work with a PT and is sharing some of the insight from the PT. He's lost 3 kilograms. Myself, I've lost 2. And I'm just pleased to be part of this little group that we're developing. It's nice to be able to share challenges and achievements. So if you want to get involved, just drop me a message, and everyone is welcome. But we have got off to a flyer, so well done, everybody. And I think that is it. We've rattled through it again. Like I say, there's all of the infographics that I shared. Everything basically will be in the newsletter that I will share on LinkedIn tomorrow. This broadcast is available on LinkedIn and will be available on YouTube later today. But thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully, Dan, you are feeling better and you've now gone up to a 6 on the mood board. There it is. Did I go? Oh, I went the wrong way again. But there you go. So thank you all very much for joining. I've just touched over the half hour again. I'll get better, and I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you very much, and thank you for all the comments, Kane, Vinod, Dan, and Al. Thank you very much. I do appreciate your input, and have a good week, everybody.